So this will be posted on my account probably, because you're not a director yet.
Yeah, but I'll probably, like, break it up a little bit.
Okay.
We'll see.
Okay. Love each other. Memory is a really interesting thing in the sense that these terabyte drives that we can purchase now, which is 1,000 gigabytes, can hold so much information. It's only like, the dimensions are only like this. And that's about the size of a brain, right? But technology's getting more and more equivalent, but we're equipped with something vastly larger as far as storage space than a terabyte drive. It's so vast, in fact, that even cognitive specialists, don't even know if there is a limit to the amount of information that we can withhold or process. Like, so little is known right now about the subconscious and the consciousness and how they relate to each other that we're still dealing with theories about it. So that's all we have to work with. And to say that we don't hold on to past lives within our consciousness from our spirit's experience living as organic matter. I mean, what we have to remember is that we are recycled organic matter. That's all we are, is recycled organic matter that's billions of years old.
Right.
What we are, what we physically are
the same as the dinosaurs, are the same as...
Right, it's that same recycled spirit. So energy transfers with the organic matter. So the matter that makes up, the organic matter that makes up our spirit, and what allows that to be our bodies to be a conduit. Do you think that the spirit is created by organic matter? Well, no, I think the organic matter is created from the spirit.
The fact that energy is recycled through the universe, but as far as
I think it's the opposite. I think that organic matter is created from the spirit. And,
right.
In the beginning there was the Word. God said, "Let there be," and then there was. Said it. That's the power of creation. First, there needs to be a vibration from an idea. There can't be. It's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? It's like, obviously the egg came first, because without it, then how would the chicken have been hatched? Well, how is the egg formed? Well, the egg evolved through a process of, like a super long process of reformation and trial and error in order to become the chicken egg. But a chicken wasn't always a chicken. It was something prior.
It was probably like a lizard or some amphibious.
And if you look at the fetus of a chicken, it does look kind of reptilian. If you look at or even if you just look at the claws, the feet. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
It looks, and they actually like scientists have connected the evolution of dinosaurs to birds.
Yep.
So
well,
I don't know if it goes back and forth or.
I mean, I don't claim to have any I'm not gonna.
But they're very close.
Yeah, I don't doubt any of the sayings. I give everybody the benefit of the doubt because I like to assess all information as being true as it's presented to me until other information that comes around and contradicts it. But I don't seek contradictory information. I'm not a scientist in those terms. I don't go out there and I examine everything until my eyes bleed. Like, I think that's counterproductive to experiencing life. But I do like to assess information as I find it interesting and compelling. And as far as the evolution of us is concerned, it's like, there needs to have been a provocation. There needs to have been a spark in order for this whole process that we're a part of, which we perceive as being very long, like 1 billion years is a very long time to us, but that's only relative to the short period of our lives. In that sense, time is really arbitrary because, the universe doesn't comprehend time the same way we do. So for us to project and personify the universe by our means is kind of like saying, a butterfly lives a short life or a cricket lives a short life. It's like, who are we to say that the lifespan of a cricket is short for the cricket? Like, when a grasshopper jumps through the air, if you break that down in slow motion, it's propelling itself something like 75 times the mass of its body through the air, leaping with a vertical leap of like 100 times. I don't know the exact specifications, but like 100 times its height. Now that's relatively, if we were able to do that, it would be insanity. So a grasshopper's life may only be 7 months, but because it's doing all this crazy shit, you have to expect that it's able to slow it, that it processes time way differently than us. The same way a hummingbird can flap its wings 100,000 times per second or whatever it is, but like we can't, with our eyes, we can't tell how many times a hummingbird flaps its wings per second, because it's immeasurable by our natural means to measure. And the devices that we've created to examine those actions are purely created from the limits to extend the limits of our natural ways of creation. And then
well, right, and we're like, we're experiencing billions of bits of information at a time. Mm-hmm. And our brain only processes like such a small portion of it.
Right. At any given moment.
Yes.
What interests me is the concept of a fourth dimension, like fourth dimensional beings existing as kind of like omnipresent and
Well, what is your understanding of the fourth dimension?
My understanding of the fourth dimension,
because there have been people that have already like defined the fourth dimension.
Well, but I mean, individual definition doesn't really apply much. I mean, it's theory. It's theory work. We haven't processed what a fourth dimension might.
I think some scientists have actually.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I could come up with a theory right now. That doesn't mean that I'm processing what it actually is, because I'm not examining hard data. I'm theorizing, and that's how all this stuff happens. That's how gravity was. Our concept of gravity was established. It was a theory, and then it was tested. So it needs to be a theory before it's tested, and these theories have not been tested. These fourth dimensional theories have not been established through the scientific process.
I don't know. I got to research that more, I think.
Well,
But yeah.
If you feel compelled to, you should. I know that Flatland is this graphic novel.
Yeah, I've read that.
Yeah, and that's interesting to me that we just can't conceive it the same way a two-dimensional object. You've read it, but for the people that haven't read it, it's like a two-dimensional object couldn't possibly conceive of a third-dimensional object unless the third-dimensional object was to present itself to the two-dimensional object. And then once that happens, then the two-dimensional object still, even if it is presented with a third-dimensional object or person or life form or whatever, still wouldn't be able to process it because of the amount of conditioning that goes in to being a two-dimensional object.
So what do you think about the fourth dimension being like it's concentrated energy that presents itself?
Concentrated energy that presents itself?
Such as, like, some people would say spiritual beings.
Well, I definitely don't limit the possibilities. I think that it's kind of, it's kind of only for our entertainment purposes to ponder what else is out there, like in the spiritual realm. It could, like, theories. I'm not saying that theories are useless. Like, theories can definitely power and inspire us to create great art or to inspire us to live a certain lifestyle or to do great things with our lives. I'm not saying that they're useless, but like as a practical means of understanding the physical world that we live in, I don't think that any theory is feasible at this point to be applied generally to affect the populace as a whole.
Right.
It's that's a rough one. I mean, like the fourth concentrated energy permeating through and coming and shifting in and out of our existence, like and then the people that are blessed with that presence being considered prophets or visionaries or whatever. Like,
Just, anybody can see it though, right? I mean,
Well,
like,
here's-
if you're just like sitting laid up at night,
here's the thing with
paying attention to
like,
like the room around you.
my big thing is subjective idealism. Like,
Right.
like George Berkeley presented this the theory of subjective idealism, which is the theory that nothing exists outside of the mind. Everything is a projected.
Yes, I've heard of this.
Yeah. So
Right.
so it's conceivable that we're all experiencing different. I'm not saying that you're not real, but you're only as real as I perceive you to be, and vice versa. So right now we are, assumedly two real sentient beings communicating with each other, but our experiences are 100% different. Now, not
And 100% different from everybody watching this.
well, it's not 100%. That's I'm sorry.
Well, yeah,
Yeah,
it's
we
a lot
just-
different.
There is an objective reality that's shared, but it's different amongst, like, say you have a round table of world leaders. Since they all comprehend the world that we live in slightly differently, they're going to bring a slightly different objective slant to that table, and that's the reason why we haven't been able to secure, like, world peace. But I think if we examine that honestly, that we can at least agree on that, on what I feel is our greatest strength, which is agnosticism. I feel our greatest strength is admitting that the meaning of knowledge is simply to know that we know nothing. Like, since the universe is seemingly impermanent, and all things in the universe are constantly changing, and the only thing consistent in the universe is change, then any applicable theory on what is quote unquote true or real is just temporary. There is nothing in the universe that is permanent, in my opinion, except for the ever-changing nature of the universe, which is kind of like a paradox, because if the only thing consistent is change, then you can never hold on to the moment, which kind of fuels back into Hinduism, which is the theory that the universe is eternal, and instead of working linearly like the Western
It's a big spiral.
Western culture understands it, is beginning, middle, and end. That it's actually cyclical or cyclical, and we exist within that cycle somewhere. But it's like the Dharma wheel too in Buddhism. It's like, we begin, we end, and we begin again, and we end. But those lines are they blur. I mean, I don't know where I am in this cycle. Like, I understand myself linearly because I was raised by my ancestors who stem from Western culture, so that's what they perceive as true. But once again, the subjective idealistic trait among the world claims different truths. My truth is different than a Buddhist monk's truth because of our different experiences. So to claim that something could come and could not come from a fourth dimension and visit us as condensed energy, I would have to be an idiot to claim that, no, absolutely not fucking true. Because how can the burden of proof actually lies on me if I make that claim, because then I have to disprove it, and I don't know that can be disproven. How can anything be disproven? It's like the flying spaghetti monster. Are you familiar?
Yes.
So, like, how can I disprove the flying spaghetti monster? So I might as well just allow people to believe what they are compelled to believe, if that works for them, as long as they're not using a system of belief to manipulate others, because that's when I feel like it's important to step in.
See, I've arrived at that
Hold
junction
on.
too.
What's that?
I've arrived at that place where it's like you can't say definitively whether or not something is true in general, and that
Yeah.
you have to yield to other people's beliefs because it pertains to their life and their experience.
Right.
And the whole idea of learning through other people is very fascinating to me.
Yeah, I mean, the straw man argument really is, well, you're alive, aren't you? Or like, you're claiming that you know that you don't know, so you do know that you don't know, so you do know something. It's like, no, I don't know that I don't know. Like, that's what it is. I'm always prefacing everything by saying that I believe, not I know. And in Western culture,
Right.
we understand statements, blank general statements, as I know that it is a beautiful day today, when I express it is a beautiful day today. But somebody that's down on their luck, that's starving, may see only misery in the day. So there is no objective positive day. It's only relevant on a relative level. So with that being said, I lost my original train of thought and I can't continue going back to it. But I mean, so little is known about quantum mechanics. It's a really new advance in the scientific field, and I hope that 30 or 40 years from now, I'm looking back upon this video and going, wow, if I could enlighten this kid with the information that we have now in our scientific world, how much different and how much better would life have been for him?